Hello, welcome everyone. Listen, happy Thursday. Can you believe we are in week 3 of this amazing series called Letters to Our Brothers, 44 Black Men? And if you are just joining us, hey, thank you so much. My name is Marty Sellers, and I am your mental health hygienist. And we are so glad to have you. Listen, we want to give some people time to dial in and join us. Listen, let us know that you're here, where you're calling from today, and everything. We are so excited about this a panel that we've been having. If you have been missing out, listen, you need to call your uncle, your brother, your grandfather, your dog, Bubba, everybody else, and get them on this live today because we got some exciting people on this today as always. But we always want to welcome you to Mental Health Matters with Marty, and we've been having a great time. In the midst of everything that's going on, we want to celebrate black men of all walks in life because there have been so many negative stigmas about who black men are. And what we're doing here on Mental Health Matters with Marty is defying the terrible stereotypes that society has about us. We are educated. Hey Yvette, how are you? Dr. Harris, good to see you. Miss Rhonda, how you doing? Listen, y'all, so good to see you. Get this message out. Listen, if you have not seen the last 2 weeks, go back and check them out. But we have been doing some amazing, amazing work with this. So I am so excited, y'all. I'm not going to delay too many things today. But again, we want to welcome you. Listen, part of my mantra here is that we no longer suffer in silence in the shadow of shame, but that we speak up, speak out, and live. But before we bring on Jason today, I want you to check out something that we have special for you today. Check this out. Now that's what I'm talking about, y'all. Listen, those are some of the men that are in this amazing book, Letters to Our Brothers. This is a must read. It's a must have. Dwayne, hey, how are you? Good to see you. It's a must have. You got to get this book. You need to get it for your brothers. You need to get it for your uncles. You need to get it for your cousins. You need to get it for everyone. James Tracy, how you doing up there in Northern Cal? Hey, miss you, brother. Hope all is well. And listen, without any further ado, I want to bring on who has been my co-host for this whole thing and one of the original authors and developers of this book called Letters to Our Brothers, Mr. Jason T. Mahoney, the motivator himself. What's up,
What's
Jason?
going on, Marty? How you doing, man?
Man, I can't complain. How they treating you out there in Raleigh?
Treating me good, but it was hot today. It was 91. Didn't have to really go outside, but the AC was pumping, so I knew it was hot outside.
Okay. Well, listen, we got some nice breeze out here in SoCal. I have not turned on my AC for 3 days. It has been amazing. So,
Okay, okay.
yes. So y'all gotta come on out to the better half of the country. I ain't one to gossip, but you know,
So you all are changing the song. It doesn't rain in California, so now you're gonna say it's breezy in California.
it's breezy, baby. It's breezy. It doesn't rain. We got a great breeze. I ain't even near the ocean. I'm on the backdrop of the mountains, so it's all good. It's
Good.
all good. Good man. Listen, I have been having a ball. I hope you have been
Oh,
enjoying this series.
it has been super, super, super.
Yes. Cassandra, how you doing? Good to see you, baby. Yes, this has been such an eye-opening series. And last week, you got me real good. I was fighting back tears and everything else, man. but
Yeah,
but
I
but
think I caught up a little bit. I was gonna say like you're doing church. Go ahead and let the Lord use you.
right. But what I appreciate each week, we've had some amazing
Mhm.
testimonies, if I can say it that way. We've had
Right.
some amazing stories and journeys along this thing that has been absolutely amazing. And so, thank you for the collaboration,
Mhm.
the thought of this. So talk to us again for those who are just joining us for the first time and maybe has not checked out what this book is all about. Why the book and why is this so relevant today?
Mhm. Gotcha. So, just real quick, pretty much Letters to Our Brothers was established starting in 2019 when I was going through some things in my personal life and personal career life, and I
Mm-hmm.
needed to make a decision and some life choices. And I ended up finding a letter that my childhood pastor wrote me.
Mm-hmm.
And the letter was about 20 years old and had never been opened. And when I
Wow.
opened the letter, it was just impactful. It was very short, sweet, to the point, but it provided me the words that I needed. And so after that, later on, I processed it, and what it said to me was, if a letter from another Black man that was a mentor and a pillar in the community could impact my life, how great would it be for other Black men to write letters to impact other brothers? And so I reached out to a multitude of brothers, and 44 of the brothers answered the call. And so I wanted 50, but the number ended up being 44. And so the good thing is President Barack Obama is the 44th
Right.
president. He's a Black man. So now I'm okay with the number 44 because it represents Black men and the achievements that we can do. And so put the call out, and brothers responded.
Excellent. Excellent. Isn't it so powerful the word, how powerful words are
Hmm.
in our lives?
Exactly.
Because words can continue to play in our minds. And
Hmm.
I share this with parents all the time when I'm counseling them, that we have the power to speak life and death into our children and to each other by the simple words that we say. You
Absolutely.
cannot call your children stupid or they'll never amount to anything. That scene in The Help is so where Viola is telling that the
Hmm.
little white girl, use smart, use wise, and all, because all those things are so important with
Exactly.
our children. Because if we put in them and embed in them at a young age
Exactly.
that they can accomplish anything, that
Exactly.
they are smart, that they are intelligent, and I believe in that, in changing what I call the mental telepathy and the mental mindscape
Right.
of where we are by speaking life into you. We have
Absolutely.
the power to change the trajectory of our lives by simply speaking words of affirmation and words
Absolutely.
of power into people.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Because
yes,
for far too long, as Black men, we were called everything except
yes,
a name and a man. And so
right.
now this is an opportunity that we must shift what we're going to answer to and what we're going to allow people to call us.
That's it. That's it. And that's so important. It's not what they call you, but it's what
Mhm.
you respond to.
Exactly.
Yes, and we have
Exactly.
to learn how to respond to
Hmm.
positivity and leave
Exactly.
negativity at the door. So I don't know
Exactly.
what name you call me, but I am more than a conqueror. I
Exactly.
am the head and not the tail. Come
Exactly.
on. I'm a
Exactly. You
lender
about
and not a borrower. Come on, somebody. Don't you get me started up in
absolutely.
here. This is
And I
Thursday
can,
night. We ain't got time
I
for
tell
Wednesday
people
night church.
exactly Wednesday night Bible study, Thursday night
Right,
worship.
right.
And I use it in the same vein where you're saying, I always tell people, follow with that innate worth, decree that thing, affirmation. I
Yes.
am valuable, I'm important, I'm good enough, I'm
Yes.
equal. And so no matter what people say or do, I'm still those things: good enough, important, equal, and valuable.
That's right. That's right. That's why it's so important to do what? Stop the stinking thinking. That's
Thinking.
a whole nother thing. Yes, yes. Brother Thomas, what's going on with you?
What's going on, Thomas?
Yes, Mr. Miller, how are you? That's right. We have to speak words of affirmation. You're absolutely right. It's so important. And that's what the Bible is. Bible is a love letter
Exactly.
of affirmation. One of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of John, because everywhere that Christ speaks, he says, I am.
I
And
am.
we have to start speaking with more I am statements. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the resurrection. I am the good shepherd. I am the bread of life. I am the living. Come on, don't get me started now.
Let me find an offering plate with some dance music because you got to take the. We're not going to go to church on Sunday because I get it
Yeah,
right here.
no, no, no. Still go to church on Sunday. Still lift up your offertory, but we can take it at. Listen, I'm not gonna. We've been talking. We having too much of a good
Let's
time.
bring the people out.
Let's bring one of these brothers in and everything. Who are we bringing out first today?
Let's see. Let's bring out Antoine Arnold.
Okay, Mr. Antoine
Let's bring out
Arnold.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Arnold, how are you, sir?
Let me unmute my mic. Greetings, greetings. I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. How you doing?
For a Thursday, we cannot complain. Jason getting me started here, and I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I
hold
was in
my
the back,
peace.
man. I was about to, start shouting, going to the Holy Ghost, you over there preaching.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, y'all in the Bible Belt anyway, because you only got to say Jesus 3 times and y'all ready to go
No.
in. Out here in Cali, you got to have the cherubims and the seraphims and everything else flying around
Gotcha.
before they catch the Holy Ghost out here. But
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and everything. I was reading your portion today, and what I loved about yours was called "Get Fit," and that you said that you are also a proud mama's boy.
Yeah.
Talk to me about talk to me about Get Fit and what it means to be a proud mama's boy.
Well, for me, getting fit is getting fit mentally.
Okay, I love
And
it.
like we were talking about, with empowering and motivating black
Mm-hmm.
men of all ages,
Mm-hmm.
all backgrounds. I think for one, that's very important is the mindset of being mentally strong.
Mm.
I think for a lot of times when we hear these stereotypes and we get these criticisms and so forth, we're quick to a lot of us who are not fit in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
We give in too easy, and I
Yes.
think that's where they continue to pound us with these certain stereotypes and these mindsets and
Right.
all of this
Right.
other stuff and these stigmas that they put on us. And I think so for me the challenge was, and especially when I had the platform,
Right.
hey, let's get mentally fit and get
Let's get
mentally
fit.
fit. And so I use the metaphor between that of a gym working out.
You did. You
um
did.
yes sir. So, and of course everybody that knows me knows I'm a mama's boy to the heart, to the core. My
Uh huh.
mother, Jacqueline James, a tremendous woman, crazy story, one of like very inspiring, very motivating.
Uh huh.
I want to encourage her to actually write her story one day, and I'm
Okay.
getting there. We're getting close because she has a tremendous story. There's nothing that has happened so far that she has not been through, like everything.
Mm.
You name
Mm.
it, she's been through it. And to
Mm.
see her and to raise, two sons, to be
Mm-hmm.
on top, a daughter just doing her thing, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. And that's been my motivation.
I
That's been
love
my
it.
motivation. So I'm telling everybody I'm a mama's boy to the core. I don't care.
Yes.
That's mine. Yeah, I love her. And she's very inspiring. And but one thing she's always instilled in me was a be true to yourself.
That's good.
And so growing up with that mindset, that's how I am. Till this day, I'm living a transparent lifestyle. I'm the same Twan you're gonna see hanging out when you see me out right now. I mean, that's just me.
Yes, yes. I
You know.
love it. I love it. Twan, talk to us about, and I love the analogy because when we're working our mental health, it is the same thing as working. Just like we work out our physical bodies, we
Yes,
have to
sir.
work out our mental
Yes,
bodies as
sir.
well as our
Yes,
mental
sir.
health and everything. What did you do, and what kind of was your, if I can say it this way, your mental workout regiment to
Yeah.
make sure that you remained a strong black man in
Yes,
the
sir.
midst of society that thinks less of you?
Hey, my circle. So I'm very family oriented.
Uh huh.
Beautiful wife, beautiful daughters, strong friends. And I just keep my circle amongst people who are empowering and motivating and positive. And
Good.
it's like we are feeding off of one another. No jealousy,
Yes.
no time for
Right.
competition. Hey, we're all trying to get to certain points.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I make it, you make it.
That's
When they
good.
make it, the next man make it, and we are reaching back down to pick the next brother up. It's nobody left behind. It's no talking behind each other's backs and so forth.
Yeah.
But and that's how we're rolling. But for me, it's for one coming out, living a true, transparent lifestyle,
Mm.
being honest, being honest. When I'm upset,
Right.
I'm upset. If I'm hurting, I'm hurting.
Okay.
And it, I think for a lot of us to put it out there.
Yeah.
If you are seeking therapy, brother, if you're hurting, you need
Yeah.
somebody to talk to, like, hey, I love you. Those
Right.
words, I love you.
Yes.
So to be able to say that, and give another brother a hug, just out of brotherhood, like motivate.
Yeah.
And these are the things that I'm incorporating, in my daily life and throughout, and because I work with kids who I'm very
Okay.
passionate with, of all ages, backgrounds. That's me. That's my vision. That's my mission in life. That's my calling. And so with that, I just want to continue to inspire as many as possible each and every day that I'm waking up. As long as I
Right.
have breath, I'm trying to do it, and
I
that's me.
love it. I
Yes,
love it,
sir.
man. It's the each one reach one, and I love the accountability that you have not just to your children that you mentor, but to we as men,
Mhm.
and we don't often have that type of true, authentic brotherhood
Right.
with that to say, hey, bro, love you. Hey, bro, I got you.
Yeah.
Bro, if you're hurting, I'm hurting. When
Yes.
you're rejoicing, I'm rejoicing. This
Right.
is not life. I think, was it in your life is not a competition, but it's a journey. Were
Mm.
those your words?
That's more of my what do you call it? Affirmations. Everything I put in there, man, I'm just speaking from the heart. And
I
sometimes I
appreciate.
even forget what
Yes,
I put down,
that's all right.
because I'm getting so in depth with it. Like, yeah, so when you ask me my words, I'm thinking back like, hey, did I? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, man.
That's right. That's right, man. Hats off and kudos to you, man. Much
Mhm.
props because we need more men mentoring other young men.
Exactly.
Because I believe, and Jason, jump in here because I
Mhm.
believe, not that I believe, I know we can change the lives of these young men, especially
Absolutely.
those young men. I work with group homeboys,
Right.
and you know, I'm disappointed because three of my boys just got arrested, and I'm so upset with them right now. But I know where it comes from
Yeah.
because of the lack of
Mm.
father figures, the
Yes,
lack of
sir.
other male figures in their lives. So he made a terrible choice in it. And even in the midst of all that, I said, listen, I still love you. Am I disappointed with you? Yes. Am I mad? Hell yes. But it does not change my love for you
Right.
in that. Nothing can change that. But now you just have to, step up and face the consequences. And we're going to do this together. I'm
Mhm.
not just going to abandon you. And when we get more of us that will come alongside young men like that,
Right.
do you know we can make a difference in our communities? So
Absolutely.
hats off to you, man, and thank you for the work that you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this platform.
And like
Yes.
you said, Marty, it's coming along and doing the work. And I use the word present. I think we have
Yes.
to be present, and not just at the things that we're going to traditionally think that men would be at, but we need to be
Right.
present. In worship services. We need to be present in the school system. We need to be present
Yes.
in therapy. We need to just be present. And I think that's where our young brothers can see, wow, no matter what corner, no matter what street corner they turn on, no matter what door they enter, they will see somebody that looks like them.
That's
And so
right.
I went to a predominantly white institution, and so for me, it spoke so many volumes when I had a professor that looked like me. When I
Mm-hmm.
had individuals on the campus that were leaders that looked like me, and so I think if we show up, and then we will be able to show out, and we will be able to make things change things. We just have to be present,
Mm-hmm.
and but be present in the non-traditional things.
Yes. Yes. So Antoine, tell us this. What was your main inspiration for writing what you wrote?
Um, just so for 12 years now, I've had the opportunity rather, to work with youth,
Mm-hmm.
aspiring youth. Started in my undergrad years. Big ups to University of South Carolina, upstate,
Mm-hmm.
Spartanburg. But it started out there, working at the Boys and Girls Club, volunteering with the Salvation Army,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just had a genuine passion for working with kids. And I went to school for IT, um,
Okay.
and I wanted to change my major, but I was too far. And so, but hey, working with kids is so awesome, because I find
Right.
myself learning more than what I'm actually trying to teach. And that's what's powerful for me, to see so many kids with the backgrounds and the stories that these kids are facing. And yet, some of them, I'm just like in awe because they have a smile on their face.
Mm-hmm.
They're encouraged, they're passionate, they're motivated, and they continue to move forward. And I know adults who wouldn't be able to take on half the struggles, um, that some of these kids have been faced with.
Right.
And yet they come every day, they give it their all, they're doing what they can, and they're still being pounded on with society. And this is my time to let them know that, hey, I'm with you. I'm with you
Yes.
all. I'm with you all. You
Yes.
have you have somebody right now that's right here for the fight and fighting with you side by side. So I just come on not as a person to just point fingers or be
That's right.
judgmental,
That's right.
but rather than let me listen, let me hear your story, and I guarantee there's some
Yes.
commonalities between us, and that has been my journey, my
Come
vision
on.
ever since. Man, it's look, we be talking all night. I understand we have a limited time, but
That's all
listen,
good.
some of these kids and these stories, I'm telling you, man, like it's been amazing. It's been amazing, and that's what keeps me coming back year after year.
I love what you're doing because too often we don't take time to hear
Mhm.
their stories. And as soon as and what you've done is connected with them. You said, listen, it doesn't matter what your story is. I'm going to hear it. Yes, that's good.
Yes,
Trey,
sir.
good to see you out there, my brother, and everything. Man, I can't thank you enough, man. Listen, we're going to bring you back at the end of the show
Yes,
and
sir.
everything like that, man. But thank you for being you. And thank you for when you're saying, let's get fit.
Hey,
Let's
appreciate it.
get
Thank you.
fit.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank you. All right, all right. Okay. Wow.
Wow, good stuff. Powerful brother. Pow-
Powerful,
Powerful,
powerful.
powerful trailblazer in the nonprofit areas.
That's
Powerful.
right. That's right. And we need more work like what he's doing,
Exactly.
and that we have not listened. So we'll get more about where he's doing work at and how we can be supportive of it. Again, if you're just now joining us, you need to get this book called "Letters to Our Brothers." Okay, who we're bringing on next here, sir?
So let's bring out the brother who was the editor, who read every single page in the book, who made sure the grammar was right. This brother can say some words that I've never heard of, and then I'll have to go get a dictionary and look it up just to have a conversation with him. But he's a good friend.
Dr. Lewis. Let's bring out
Dr.
Dr.
Damian Lewis.
Lewis. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, sir?
How are you two? I'm doing well.
Excellent. Okay,
Hey,
so I got to get the title of yours because, brother, you had me in there. I had to pull out my thesaurus, my dictionary. I had to write to a word etymology, all that. So, no, I appreciate that. But yours was adorn your sleeve.
Yeah.
This is so Portia, good to see you. Yes, we're getting better, baby. Y'all, adorn your sleeve. Why why adorn your sleeve? Why this whole literary? It was quite brilliant. I have to give that to you. So you editing all these letters, I can see why. But it stood out. I said, this brother gonna make me, and I kept going. Oh wow, okay, yes. And then you pulled out some Shakespeare on us. Talk to us, Dr. Lewis. Talk to us, brother.
Well, I I think what my original inspiration was when I thought about when Jason, like he said, when he asked us to write. I originally wrote another letter, and then I went back, and this was my second letter, and I thought, what was it that I wanted to share that could talk about my experiences as a black male, but then also that could speak to some of the things that I think that other black males deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that was why I went back to that Shakespearean piece with the note there from Othello, but it
Othello.
is more about when I say adorn your sleeve, I go back to the poem, We Wear the Mask, it grins and lies.
Yes.
And so I think we all walk around with masks on all the time. And I think that black males do that more than anybody. And I think it's
Yes.
indicative of our experience in this country, thinking about our roots as descendants of
Mm-hmm.
slaves and what our forefathers dealt with. We're always walking around with a mask. And sometimes in our community, we still wear a mask even for other black
Right.
people. And so when I talk about adorn your sleeve, it was really going to be who you are, be true. So when you adorn your
Yes.
sleeve, if it is going to be a mask, let it be a projection of what's inside of you and who you are, so that you're not hiding, so you're not robbing people of the experience of who you really are, and instead giving them a stage performance.
I love that. So that you are not robbing people of who you really are.
Right.
Because how many of us are robbing others because we're too afraid, too ashamed, too fearful that I might not be accepted as especially as an intellectual black man, in that regards, because we have been called Uncle Toms, we've been called Oreos, all of that, because I can dissect and conjugate a verb. And come on now, going to a school such as UC Berkeley, and being able to attend there, people have this whole stigma. I said it's one thing to get in, it's another thing to stay in, and still it's a third thing to come out with a degree in that as well. So I love it. I love it. The wearing the mask. Why is it that we believe that we have to wear masks, Dr. Lewis?
I think we believe we have to wear a mask because we get so transfixed, and even going back again, sometimes we're just now realizing, or on a mainstream basis, we're starting to really recognize how impactful slavery was and everything that happened afterwards.
Yes.
In the African American community, you had to fit certain roles.
Yes.
Be it when we were, when you're on the scaffold and you're being auctioned off, you needed to look a certain way, in order to be offered at the highest price. And those things trickle down into our society. And we think about how we go out into the world. Think about, we always want to look good. We want to drive nice cars, and I like nice cars. But you want to drive, you want to live in a nice house. But it's important to project these things because you're kind of telling this story. You're telling the story, but sometimes you get so fixed in telling the story that you created instead of telling the story that God gave you to share with everybody else.
Wow.
So that might be a great story, but it's not really your story, is it? You just created to share, but then you go home and then inside you feel like, and that's something that I had to deal with. I grew up in a small rural community. And growing up, a lot of guys, like if you weren't into sports or certain things, you just didn't fit in. Like now you can see kids who like gaming and all that stuff. And then too, I just happened to be like, I was a Black gay male. So growing up in a rural Eastern North Carolina town, it was just like, where do you fit in? And so it took years of just coming to a point of just saying, I have to honor who I am. And love it. When I wrote it, that's what I want. I want other Black males to do. I don't want you to feel like you have to live this life for anybody else. Live it for yourself. You only have one.
Right. That's powerful. That's powerful. I understand. I grew up in a very small town in central Ohio. So a little town called Newark. Don't laugh at me. We weren't Newark, New Jersey. No, I'm talking to Jason, and we had one Baptist church, one Methodist church, one high school. So you had to fit in and try and be all those things. And I was always told that I was bigger than this town I grew up in, and I knew that. And I knew very early on that as soon as I could get my bags and get up out of Ohio, I was going to do that. And I ain't looked back, thank you, Jesus. But in that, learning how to accept who you are with that, and also learning how to accept your God-given talents that you have, that's unique for you. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I love it. It says, I believe we wear a mask not to fall into negative. Hold on, I got to see negative stereotypes. Stop laughing. Age is gonna hit all y'all. Stereotypes society has put on Black people. Thank you. You're absolutely right. That's my cousin Anthony there. So y'all, thank you. So tell us now that you don't just have just your role in this book, but you also had, and I say it this way, the absolute honor of reading everyone else's stories and editing those and everything. How was that journey for you?
Wow, it was powerful, if I could say in a word. It was powerful in the sense of, again, thinking about just what my own life was like, but then I went through, as I'm reading these different writings, I was able to step in for a moment. And I think that's what the book does in a way. It allows you to step into all these shades of different Black male experiences in this country, and in what they have experienced in their lives, things that they've encountered, the growth that they've had, the struggles that they share, and even the advice that comes out of it. And so as I was going through and picking through it, that was one of the things that also made it difficult about editing. And I think when anybody edits,
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach high school. When you usually edit, you go through, you mark it up because this is just wrong. But when someone is sharing with you their life,
Yes.
their personal
Yes.
story, their journey, it was an honor to be able to edit it, but to make sure that the goal was to maintain that message and that story in a way that
Yes.
they intended to deliver to whoever was reading that book. And
Yes.
so, when those of you who haven't, when you read it, you'll see exactly what I mean about being able to step in to one man's shoes, where one moment you might be in triumph, the next moment you might need a box of tissues because you're crying because it just hits you. And not that it's sad, but it hits you in such a way that you didn't even expect. And so I think
Yes.
that was my greatest thing of walking away from it, how powerful it was to go from each one and have a different, I can use that word again, experience each
Yes.
chapter or each
Yes.
letter rather.
I know as I'm reading each letter, I'm feeling all these different emotions that
Mhm.
every black man has brought, and hearing their story and their journey along with it. It's powerful. So I can only imagine the extreme responsibility of editing it, but also keeping the authenticity of
Mhm.
their story in
Right.
such a way that their voice is still being heard.
Mhm.
True to wow. Amazing. That's all. I'm blown away. So most definitely, most definitely. Jason, any words for Dr. Lewis before we bring him back?
So I definitely appreciate Dr. Lewis for doing the editing because he didn't have to do it. But it was interesting when we were going through the process because the brothers would send the letters to myself first, and Rachel, who's the published with Rain Publishing Company. So they would send them to us first, and we would read them to make sure the format was there, and then we would send it to Damien. And
Mm-hmm.
so after Damien would read it, Damien would call me and be like, "Man." And it'll be silent because you would hear these people's story, or you would hear the information or the guides that they're telling us, and you're like, wow. And so it was really a journey between him, myself, and Rachel to be the first partakers in reading the collective as a whole.
Right, right. Well, it's amazing, and again, y'all, if you are just now joining us, you have to get this book,
Mhm.
Letters to Our Brothers. We're gonna have it on here some more and tell you exactly how to get it, and of course, I'm sure they can get one from you, Mr. Damien, with a sign. I'm gonna have 44 copies of this book with everyone's their own personal signature on it because I want my own with everybody on it.
We can make that happen.
We can make that happen. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, we're going to bring you back at the end here
Okay.
because we get to talk bad about Jason at the end and all that good stuff too. Because we know how this brother is. You can never tell him no. I was trying to, but he ain't gonna let me. You know, I get it. I get it.
All
Doctor Lewis.
true. He's not gonna let you say no.
No, exactly. Anyway, thank you so much, my brother. So good. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Okay. That's a writing brother right there.
Yes, yes, yes. Damien can write very well, read very well. And if you want to have a funny time, have a conversation with him and say something that's incorrect, and then he'll let you know, well, did you mean to say this, this, and this? And I'm like, we're not in class right now. Can I just talk?
He can't help it. That's who
He
he
can help.
is.
Right.
Yes.
An intellectual black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He is adorning your sleeve with
Right.
proper grammar and English with that. Okay. Thank you, Marilyn. Definitely, definitely. Listen, y'all, if you are just joining us, listen, you got to get this book, copy of Letters to Our Brothers. So, who is our last guest, Mr. Joseph, tonight that's coming on here? Talk to us about Mr. Wright.
So Joseph Wright is actually my cousin. And so I grew up in South Carolina. He grew up in New York. And so we will see each other sometimes during the summer. And so he's actually my cousin. And I'm going to say this live in front of everybody in the world. The brother has a book in him that I'm trying to push out of him. He writes poetry, short stories. So I'm trying to push that book out of him because it's there and we just got to get to it. So he comes out. Everybody say in the comment, man, go ahead and write your book, Joe.
Okay, you always got something up your sleeve, Joe. Let's bring Joseph out. Joseph, how you doing, cousin? Uh-oh, can you hear me?
I'm muted. My fault. Hello,
There
everybody. How
you
you doing?
go.
What's
All
going
right, how
on?
about yourself?
I was doing good until he put me on blast and talking about this book and this short story. He's right, but I need that. He's excellent at just pulling out the best of you, and I appreciate all that positive energy. I appreciate it, man.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Now, yours was a letter of love and loss. I felt like I was reading a. Now I'm gonna borrow part of Dr. Lewis. This wonderful love story that he was fell in love with this girl at a party and he had his own girlfriend. I was like, oh my God.
Oh
put
man,
put her in the cab, and then everything was magic after that with Miss Abby. That was see, I told you y'all got me reading. Y'all got me reading.
I know you're gonna start with that though. But I hear you.
But that what I loved about it was a beautiful, beautiful love story.
Mhm.
And too often what I loved about it was the love at first sight, and
Mhm.
secondly, black love.
Yeah.
We don't talk enough about successful black marriages,
Mhm.
and then to have your wife die at such a young age. Whew. You took me in. You took
Yeah.
me in. So I'm with Jason now. Now this not only is a book, but we need to go talk to somebody about making this into a movie as well. I'll get my camcorder out. And
Oh man. You talk face. Mhm.
yes, talk to us. What about your role in this wonderful book, and share with us this amazing love story that you have.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So again, Jason approached us with this message of what do we want to say to our brothers? What kind of personal message can we tell our brothers? And my message was about love and about how like black love and how pure it is and how we always hear
Yes.
about how other cultures love hard. And I wanted other
Mm-hmm.
people to realize that black love is real and we love just as hard. And we
Yes.
have the capability to love just as hard as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just so happens that yeah, you meet this wonderful woman and you share some time together and ups and downs happen, but you can lose that love too. And then what do you do as not just as a man,
Right.
but as a black man, um, not with any type of handbook or anything saying, hey, what do I do? I got 3 kids now.
Right.
How do I take care of these 3 children in this society? How do I raise my children to be accepted in society as well? Yeah, so it's tough.
Yes.
Like I said, the biggest message was sharing that love and make sure that people understand how much I loved her, how pure it was,
Mm-hmm.
and how innocent it was. And even though I put that other young woman in the cab, it was still a lesson. And that as we go through those lessons, we learn to love better, right? So
Yes.
through that lesson, and through that loss, I feel a better man because of it. And as you go through the grieving process and you learn about, you know, your role after, like, because it's like a void left now that you're alone. How do you cope with
Yes.
that? And how do you still
Love
be
it.
able to work and take care of your children and raise a family and meet and be social again? Because, you kind of go through a depression as well. And,
Yes.
letting you know that black men can get help because I was raised in a family where, it was wrong to get therapy, or if you do,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
you're thought to be like the crazy person, and it's like it's not like that. It's if you need help, professional help, then it's okay to seek therapy, as any man
Yes.
should. If you're going through a depression and you just don't know how to cope and how do you get through it.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
important for us to take care of ourselves because I don't know about other people, but I find it real hard to get to the hospital and take care of myself. And we didn't really talk about that in the home. Like it might
Right.
be kind of normal in other people's homes, but in my home, we were just trying to make it day to day. In
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York,
Yeah.
Crown Heights, to be more specific, big up to New York.
Mm-hmm.
But it was tough. You know, you were just lucky to make it home. You know, just lucky to get an education. Hope, you know, because I had a strong mother, she was able to keep me off the streets. And if anybody, you know, tried to get me into gangs or drugs or anything like that, she would confront them and protect me. So it's really important that if you need that help, you reach out. And going back to the reason for the book, in the case of me with grief and the loss, there were times of depression. Having that family around, that therapy around available, is really important and helpful. So,
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, because too often we we as black male therapists, we are only 1% of the
yeah.
entire field. And then those who are black men, we don't traditionally seek help in so many forms. One, we don't know about it, and we have misconceptions about what therapy is all about. I say, listen, I see my therapist so I can stay sane. Uh, you don't want me to go a week or two without seeing my therapist in that regards, and I am a therapist. So with that, but it is definitely a way, because we have not been taught as men how to share our emotions,
Right.
how to deal properly with grief, how to deal with loss. You are now a single father with 3 children, and I love what you're saying. You had to learn how to do hair now, and talk about feminine hygiene and makeup and all these other things like that you didn't have your wife around at the time, or their mother. So
Yeah.
talk to us about that process. How did you make it through that time?
Well, a lot of it was preparation, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we had stage 4 breast cancer, so it wasn't something that was immediate, which just was taken from us.
Right,
We had
right.
time to talk and have the conversations, babe. You know, what do I do when she starts talking about feminine hygiene? What do I talk about as she become more of a young woman? Is it
Mm.
appropriate about these types of things? You know, and she kind of, you know, reciprocated that feeling. Wow. At first, I wanted to make videos
Mm-hmm.
and just have her answer, but then I was like, it'll hit, you know, more to home and make it my own if we just go through the motions and just ask questions as things come up. And
Right.
given at the time, my children were 7, 9, and 13, so they were
Wow.
very young. So it was kind
Yes.
of difficult to imagine what kind of experience am I going to go through when they're 16.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what you said about doing it here, that was like my first experience doing here. Besides playing games, you know, with my younger sister.
Right,
And
right.
I feel black women when you when you are doing your daughter's hair and that texture, you got to work with it.
Yeah.
And it just took a lot of time. And we talked about braiding hair, but going back to the more personal things about raising a daughter, right? Like, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
man, how can I raise a woman? It took a lot of reading. I asked a lot of people. When
Mm-hmm.
they say it takes a village, it definitely takes a village. I talked to my mom, my aunts, friends out there. I even went on Facebook and just put a post, hey, ladies, I'm doing this. What do you think? You
Yeah.
know, but going back to my wife, at the time, we did a lot of preparation, asked her questions. And one of the scariest questions was, when my daughter turns into a young woman, do I joke and talk about, you know, her body and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing she said was, just be a father, you know, continue to
Wow.
let her sit on your lap, continue to
Mm-hmm.
play with her and laugh with her, continue to just be a father figure. So it was really important for me, as a black man, to let her see and respect
Yes.
her as a woman, coming up in this environment, that you are powerful, you are strong, you are beautiful, you are smart. Just like you were saying, you know, because you
Yes.
was feeling the spirit saying, I am. You know, you
Yes.
are all these great things, and you can be whatever you want to be. So it's just important to just stand by and be there when she falls, you know, and just guide her on the path. And that's the biggest takeaway that I got from her. And like I
Excellent.
said, she was a great woman. She was a feminist. She was smart, intelligent. She wanted to be a nurse. She had a lot of
Wow.
aspirations. So it was really important for me to tell her story. I just didn't want her to disappear in anonymity. You know, I wanted her
Yes.
to be remembered. And like Jason said, he's right. There was a book in there. I've been writing a lot of poems, and I'm not going to forego the task of putting that story out. I'm definitely
That's
not going to do.
good. Well, you already got the editor, Dr. Lewis. He's just waiting for to get his hands on it and everything. So, no, can you put up Trey's comment that he just put in there? We have another single father who spoke, and he talked about it is a big job being a single
Yeah,
father. So, see, you're already speaking to other single fathers,
yeah.
and
And
I'm a single father. I have a 4-year-old.
oh,
Don't judge me, but. All this gray. I am not supposed to have a 4-year-old, but God gave me the opportunity of adopting my cousin's baby. Unfortunately, her mother died in the birthing process, and
so
so I just like, Lord Jesus, what are you doing? And so I got her as soon as she was released from the hospital at 3 months old, and she's been
wow,
my joy ever since. So I understand. I'm learning how to do hair all
mm,
over again. Help me,
amazing, brother. I'm
Jesus.
proud. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Listen, this is what we do. This is what we do. We step up. I don't look for society to do what I, one, am called to do, two, know how to do, and three,
Mm,
it's just my responsibility to do it.
yes,
Before there was a social system, we in our community became the system, and we took care
Exactly.
of our own. So
Exactly.
when this happened, besides I was probably the only one in my family that could pass a background check at the time. That's a whole nother story. In that. But and I'm so grateful for the village that
mm,
has come alongside me
Right.
yeah,
and helped to raise my daughter in that, and she doesn't even know any better. Just
wow,
she's at having a ball of her life right now. She just thinks
yeah.
she's got all these mommies and all these aunties and all
And that,
that, and which is
and that was
beautiful.
amazing. And that was amazing because there were people there I didn't even know ready to
Yes,
support me in ways I like. I think back now and I'm like, if it wasn't for them being like that backbone,
that's
I
it.
don't know how I would have got through some of those tough moments of, oh wow, I'm sitting here
Hmm.
alone. I got, what am I going to do? And then they just knocked the door, and I'm like, oh my goodness, did I call somebody? And they're there. So it's like
Right.
they were just ready to just come in and be a part of my family in a
That's
way
it.
that so motivating and
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. And so we thank God for man. Yeah, you got a book in there. Tasia had Jones earlier says she wants to read the rest of your story. So you got
Uh,
folks already ready to get their pre-orders in with that. So yes, Joe, please write your book. I would love to hear your story. See, you got folks ready to hear the story because it serves as an inspiration.
yeah,
Exactly.
and that's
What you did not do was and so we haven't even talked about the whole processing cancer and
yeah,
and how that affects the family in
yeah,
such a way. We haven't talked about being there to support and being the cheerleader now for your children. We
yeah,
haven't talked about now that you're a single father, now you got one income. We haven't talked about see I'm giving you your chapters to your book.
yeah.
Look at God.
Because it's so big. It's so big,
Yes.
And when Jason told me that he didn't really say I had a limp, and I appreciate him for that. I just wrote, and while I was writing, I was like, man, there's just so much. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
directions that I could go into with this, because, like you said, that big C, that alone was
Yeah.
so tremendous. And then going into see the chemotherapy and talking to other people who are going through it,
Yes.
it just touches you in ways. And then when you speak to the doctor and you hear that diagnosis, and you're like sitting on the edge of your seat hoping everything's okay, it's
Yes.
scary. It's really scary. And me
Yes.
being there and just documenting, because I really did write down every feeling that we
Wow.
went through together, and
Wow.
the reaction to everything that we went through. It just changed. Every moment became a pivot to another direction in our
Wow.
life, and how much we need to appreciate the time that we have, and how we take for granted the time that we have as well. So,
See, even
those,
Trace says, wow, the
there's a
single
lot of
fathers, your story can help so many.
yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you for it.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much wow. I wish we had some more time just to go into it. But when you write your when you write your book, we
Right.
having you back
Exactly.
on just to
Exactly.
share this journey.
Right. And Marty, he has it already.
I know.
He has it already. I'm
I know
pushing.
he does.
Pushing.
Make me blush.
I told you, Dr. Lewis already got his editing pen out, so he's
Man,
ready. Let's bring Dr. Lewis back in, and and let's bring Antoine back in here. Yes, yes, Dr. Lewis, I know you got your pen ready.
I heard my name so much, I said, "Oh, I'm just being co-signed to project." I said, "Okay."
I'm really better.
This is what we do. You know how we roll.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, I'm taking Antoine's thing. He says we don't leave no one behind. We come in here and we do this thing together.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. So I have to ask the $1 million question. Everyone that I've interviewed so far has said they have been strong armed. Now, cousin, you don't even get a chance to even say your piece in this because I've only known Jason for not even a year yet, and he's changed my life so much. I'm not even coming near North or South Carolina. I'm just gonna bypass it altogether. But what was your what do you feel has been the value and even the legacy that you all want to leave with this book? Because the beauty of a book is a book can out and will outlive us,
Exactly.
and for generations to come your story is forever written in this thing called history.
History.
What is your legacy that you each want to leave? Let's start with you, Joseph, since we've been talking through this and everything. What is your legacy that you want to leave?
Well, like I said, my children were very young when all of this happened. And when I talked to my youngest and asked her what did she remember about mommy, though it's tough to hear that she didn't really remember much. So I kind of wanted her to first know that we can love like anybody else, and
Right.
I wanted her to know that mommy loved daddy, and that first love that your children see is so important.
Yes.
It's a functional relationship, right? And they know the expectations that I expect this gentleman to do this, or my role in a relationship is that. So it was really important for me to first establish the love. But then the most important thing was to just let her know that we got through this thing,
Yes.
situation, this sadness, this rupture that happened in our family, and that we were strong enough to get through it. And sometimes we try to put the bad things out. So it was really important for us to try to solidify this moment, and then to show that we learned something from it. Like I said, so much I could keep going on and on, but I don't want to take off on the brothers. But
listen, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Antoine, what about yourself?
For me, just living in my purpose, the legacy I just want to leave behind is that, look, regardless of my skin color, I'm a man of values. I look to motivate and empower others. I'm just here to help, support, enable as many youth as possible. That's always been, a growing passion of mine, and I'm genuinely in my purpose right now. And so if I can just continue to inspire a youth that's down and out, facing challenges, or just ready to give up, or just need some type of motivation, or a single mother, just looking for that help or support with, hey, how do I talk to my son? Or is there anybody out there that's willing to support? Or, fathers, that's looking like, hey, my son, because I talk to many dads as well, like, hey, the times are changing,
That's right.
and to be in tune with what's going on right here, and be able to talk their lingo and help them understand as well. And just to bring that unity, strengthen the relationships, because that's a key factor that I see a lot with the kids that I work with, that it's really a breakdown in home. And once that relationship is built and is stronger, that kid, their confidence level is now through the roof. And so now they feel they can do anything. So as long as I can play a small part and just do what I can to living role model, be transparent. Hey, I'm here for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, Dr. Lewis.
What I think I really desire, or what I want to leave behind in my messaging, in my words, is that I want whoever follows me to read it, no matter how young or old they are at that point. I want them to really reflect and think about who they are projecting into the world. Is it truly who
Yes.
they are? Are there things that are built up inside of them that are God-given talents or something that just needs to be shared? And I want them to really think, am I really doing that? Am I sharing that? Am I being my true self? And if I'm not, I am existing, but I'm not really living. And I want them to live. We only get one life. I want them to live, but I want them to live as true to themselves, to who God made them to be as they can.
I love it. I love it. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Jason, any parting words for these gentlemen?
So I appreciate and I thank each person on this call that participated in the book. And as I was listening to everyone's reflection, I was thinking 1,000 years from now, it'll be 3020. And in 3020, it is my hope that one Black boy or a group of Black men, but somebody picks up this book 1,000 years later when we all gone, and they can reflect back on something that we said almost 1,000 years before, and it will impact and change their lives. That's the purpose of this book, that we want it to be living. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, you have the Bible, the living word, but then also while you're reading that, add this book to your reading as well, because again, it is a living, breathing document that is letting Black men know for 1,000 years later that you're valuable, you're important, you're good enough, and you're equal. And you can connect with one. It's 44 Black men in the book, and you can identify with somebody in that book to let you
That's
know
right.
that you can and you will.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, listen, thanks so much, Chris. How do you purchase a signed copy of the book? That is a great question. So,
So
Jason T. Mahoney, how do we get a signed copy?
So here's what I will tell everybody. So every author that comes onto the platform, they have books that you can purchase directly from them. And what I would like to see is you reach out to a brother that you can connect with and you identify with, and you reach out to that brother and say, "Hey, I want to purchase a book from you." So each brother that's on here, they have copies that you can reach out to them and purchase. And I think if you all can put your have the contact information in there, your Cash App, your email address, or what have you. But Chris, was it Chris that said he wanted to purchase the book?
Yes.
Yes. So Chris, you can reach out to any brother on here that you heard their story, and reach out to them, and you can purchase the book directly from any other brothers that's on this call.
But you can also pick it up by Amazon, and you can pick it up there. There's how you get the book, and that's what it looks like. And you can also get the Kindle version of it as well. Kindle is much cheaper, but we want you to get the hard copy of the book because you need this book. And don't just get one. We want you to get multiple copies and give them out as wonderful gifts. Give the gift of life and through stories. And that's going to be a gift that continues to give because this book is full of inspiration, it's full of hope, but more importantly, it's full of brothers loving other brothers. So, again, thank you so much for joining us on yet another exciting edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. Listen, how do I stay in touch? I'm glad you asked. You can always text I Matter to 31996. Again, text I Matter to 31996, and we will definitely keep you posted on what is coming up in our latest episodes of Mental Health Matters with Marty. Also, please check out my podcast, again, Mental Health Matters with Marty, on all of your latest podcasting. With that, again, like and subscribe, whether it's on iTunes, it is on Apple, Google, you name it, Stitcher, Spotify, we are there. And please leave us a 5-star rating with a review. Again, you can always text I Matter to 31996 to always catch our latest edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. And as part of our mantra is, again, we don't want you to suffer in silence, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Again, thank you so much. This has been another great and exciting edition of this Letters to Our Brothers. Listen, you got to get a copy of this book. It is going to change your life. Join us again next Thursday, where we're going to have 3 more brothers on here talking about this amazing book. Again, we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Until next week, God bless you. Take care.
Enjoy your life.